what happened is I got into this long conversation over a particular piece that someone wrote, and I could not figure out why it was written. And it was something simple about Al Sharpton and something he said, and then refuting it with all these other things. And I'm certain there was a good reason behind writing it, but I could not deduce it. And I was really upset, inordinately so, because very often I share things on Facebook and Google Plus and etc. that I want people to read because I think that they're useful, and I couldn't find a use for this article, and I thought, well, you know, that's not an isolated incident. I run into a lot of those pieces, and I struggled over this. I talked to different people about this, about how to communicate what I was feeling, the discomfort with this particular piece, and it was over an author that not only that I like, but that I know personally from our online interaction. And I was just very disappointed, and I tried to figure a way to constructively deal with that. And I got to thinking, well, I wonder how many people ask the same questions that I do when they're reading a piece and deciding to share it.
And the answer is not enough.
Well, that's my opinion, obviously, but so I wrote this piece called The Right Questions, and it's not just about asking the right questions, but being a part of the right, which questions everything. And so I had dual meanings for that title. The first item that I want people considering when they approach a piece is, what's the author's goal or purpose? There are some purposes I find very useful. Am I getting something strategically? Am I getting some facts, some strategy that I hadn't thought about, encouragement? Those are good things, and I appreciate those. But there's some other authors who just live off the outrage of the day, or you know, the stupid things liberals said. Those are nice to know, but I'm done with that. Maybe it's me, but I'm beyond the point where I need an update on the liberal outrage. I just don't. And so the next question I asked was, is this author honest? I think that's a really important question. If I'm reading in the way that they write, that they're using words like reportedly, everyone knows, things like that, then I can't really trust them. I want backups and links, or if they're speculating, I want them to clearly say so and not make assumptions that are based on their opinion, but that don't really have any support behind them. If you're speculating, tell me so. And there are a lot of people whose motives aren't pure. I mean, we know that. People who are just looking to get a reaction, or to get some sort of ire stirred up without any honest purpose behind it. So I like to know if an author is honest. And I want to know who his audience is. And this is really important to me, because if I'm sharing things, I want to make sure I'm not going to share something that goes over people's heads, turns them off, that I can't, or if it has jargon in it, that I can sort of explain that ahead of it. And an author might be writing to the right, or the middle, or the activists in the Tea Party, or the left. It might even be taking on the left and trying to go toe-to-toe with the left. That's fine, but I need to consider before I share who they're talking to, so that message doesn't get lost, and I don't discourage other people from following my feed or reading the things I share because they're just too esoteric, or they just talk in that jargon and nobody knows what they're saying. And my final question that I put, and this is not the whole list, but what I wanted people to take away, does what this author says advance my goals? Now, I start from the perspective that I have some activism goals that I want to achieve, and I understand the world a certain way. And some authors may have different worldviews and look at things differently. It doesn't mean they don't share my goals. It just means that might not be a fit for me to share. But there are some who don't share my goals, whose goal might be the attention of a particular segment, or making their fortune off of hits and clicks or whatever. I understand that, but I'm looking very carefully to see, does this person match up? Are they an ally of mine, or are they doing more harm than good? And so I'll be careful about sharing things that I don't think advance my goals, just to have them out there. And so I want people to think about that, because in thinking about Ferguson and thinking about Eric Garner and thinking about the cases that were out there, Rolling Stone and University of Virginia is a good example. I want people to not be afraid to ask questions of an author and think that that equals an attack. And that is exactly what the left is trying to do with the Rolling Stone reportage. They're trying to say that if you question this woman's account or Rolling Stone's account, then you are part of the rape culture. You are denying rape. You're blaming the victim, everything like that. I don't want us to be that kind of people. I want us to accept questions and encourage questions. And if someone is questioning some hero of yours or some person that you really admire, think about whether that is an attack or whether that's a conversation around, can we do things better? The title of this piece is called $2 Gas is the Worst Thing to Happen to America. I want everybody to just soak that up for us.
The worst thing of all the worst of all the bad things that have ever happened to America. Ever. $2 gas. Totally the worst.